What's the most ridiculous fact you know?
There are 22 stars in the Paramount logo. I'm just waiting for a pub trivia night where that will be the question that wins me $100.
And there are 12 flowers on an Oreo. I probably wouldn't know this, but I got this question at 2 different trivia nights.
The number 1 buyer of explosives in the world is the US military. Number 2 is Disney.
This sounds terrifying until you realize it's just for fireworks. But I mean, they could be storing up secretly, and in the next few years DreamWorks is going down.
Gordon's Gin's label reads world's number 1 international gin. This is because it's the world's number 2 selling gin. The world's number 1 selling gin is a brand that is only sold in the Philippines, which sells so much that despite only selling in that country it outsells every other gin brand globally.
The pronunciation of Arkansas is defined by the state legislature due to the first U.S. senators representing Arkansas disagreeing on how to pronounce the state name.
America explain.
One senator was calling the state Arkansas like we do today, while the other senator was calling the state Kansas, like the state Kansas. Since they were both new, none of them had seniority. So, to solve the issue, Congress had to ask the state for official pronunciation.
Pearlfish live in the anus of sea cucumbers.
Anal beads of the sea.
Mozart wrote that Night Queen aria so his sister-in-law could show off. The piece is so good that it is included in a collection of music from Earth on both the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft. Link.
And he wrote, Cum Scoglio, link. Also, Lek Mish I am Arsh, link. Fun Mozart facts. Kangaroos have 2 vagal canals.
Only the females. But that does mean the average kangaroo has 1 vag.
There was a tiny self-declared Republic of Canada that lasted for a few months in the winter of 1851 to 1852.
What happened to it?
One of the oldest tablets from Mesopotamia is a customer complaint.
There is even a whole collection that was discovered. So some dude did a terrible job trading copper and kept all the complaints he got about it in a room specifically built to house the complaints.
Oklahoma's state vegetable is a watermelon.
But
if you stand at the base of the clock tower in London, commonly called Big Ben, with a digital radio tuned to the BBC, you'll hear the sound of the bell striking the hour via the radio before you hear it live. In other words, sound travels faster digitally from the microphone in the tower to the BBC studio to their transmitter to your radio, than it does analogically from the bell to you.
Your intestines know how to get back in the right place. When doing abdominal surgery and the intestines need to be moved or rearranged, the doctor will just stuff them back in. They will then wriggle back into place.
Imagine a surgeon moves your liver by an inch, and the liver is just like, absolutely effing not.
Ants take 250 power naps a day. Apparently in Korean fairy tales, instead of saying, once upon a time, they usually say, back when tigers used to smoke.
I don't remember where I came across it, but the phrase back when trees could walk and stones could talk is my favorite fairy tale starter.
You will die if you consume the liver of a polar bear. That much vitamin A is too much for humans to handle.
You'll also die if a polar bear consumes your liver. Snails can feel their shells. So if you step on one, they feel the entire thing.
Now I feel bad, that must hurt.
A human body can produce enough carbon upon cremation to make 200 pencils. You can be your own souvenir at your funeral.
Greater than you can be your own souvenir at your funeral. Spoken like a true Ferengi. Your eyes have a different immune system than the rest of your body. If they knew about each other, your eyes would basically start dissolving, as your immune system attacks your own eyes. Fear not, your brain won't let that happen. Excuse me, WTF?
I've remembered this since I had a Snapple over I dunno 10 years ago. Snapple fact 777, cat have 2 sets of vocal cords, one for meowing and one for purring. Thank you for letting me get that out.
That when the Milky Way and Andromeda collide, even though they both have hundreds of billions of stars, the likelihood of any 2 stars colliding is astronomically low. Everything is unimaginably far apart. Edit. Credit to you, Doc DOS Wars, bringing up the fact that stars are more concentrated in the middle if the galaxies, so collisions are more likely. If any astrophysicists are here, please chime in. Also, Kurzgesagt's latest video said that gas clouds from both galaxies will likely collide, reigniting star formation, which is at an all-time low.
It'll look pretty cool though.
Many Buddhist statues are Greek in origin. Link. And #X200B. Why? It all started with Alexander the Great. His empire was short-lived, but it has left a lot of Greek influence in Asia and Africa. Coptic Christians in Egypt use an alphabet based on Greek in church.
Two famous schools of art for Buddhist statues are Gandhara School of Art and Mathura School of Art. The Gandhara one is Greek in origin, around Bactria. And Mathura one was Indian style.
Cows moo with regional accents.
Lots of animals have regional accents. Link.
A day on Venus lasts longer than a year on Venus.
Venus also spins backwards, so the sun rises in the west and sets in the east.
Before the invention of light bulb, people slept an average of about 10 hours every night.
They also often didn't sleep through the whole night. A lot of cultures had first sleep, and second sleep, with a wake-up time in the middle to stoke the fire, have a snack, talk, etc. Edit. Yes, it was also business time.
The longest female beard was measured at 36 centimeters or just above 1 foot.
IDK, I think my buddy's old girlfriend was taller than that.
If you smell fish and no one's cooking, it's an electrical fire.
Can confirm. I read this somewhere, so when I started smelling a rather fishy odor that I couldn't tie to anything, I started sniffing various electricals and realized my electronic knitting machine was dangerously overheating. As I would have left it on overnight to avoid losing the place in the pattern, I'm very glad I read that random piece of info somewhere.
Any drink under 10% ABV was considered a soft drink until 2011 in Russia.
On the flip side, there are some places that only allow beer, alcohol under like 4% to be sold in stores. In order to buy anything stronger, you must go to a liquor store. This is common in Nordic countries and some more conservative US states.
Rhinos have only 5% body fat, and that fat I'd stored on the bottom of their hooves, which makes them effectively silent even at full sprint.
This is both astounding and terrifying. Imagine walking along at night and getting horned out of nowhere by a full-size truck. UFIDNT here. Echidnas have a 4-headed penis.
Knuckles? What the hell is that?
Albania has the most bunkers in the world because their dictator was scared of being invaded.
The 1989 comedy film, Little Monsters, has 2 entirely separate novelizations by 2 entirely unrelated authors. I don't know why. Do with this information what you will.
Who pissed in my apple juice?
The singer of Peanut Butter Jelly Time died in an 11-hour police standoff during which his brother-in-law, Snoop Dogg, attempted to calm him down and convince him to surrender.
He died in 2002. How did I not know this until now?
Saddam Hussein wrote an erotic novel. Zabiba and the King, link.
I love that he also forced everyone in Iraq to learn how to read. If they didn't, they had to go to jail. Adults and children in Iraq were forced to learn how to read.
Olivia Wilde's actual name is Olivia Cockburn. She changed the last name for obvious reasons.
Olivia Wilde Cockburn is a fantastic James Bond name.
Oxford University was founded before the Aztec Empire.
When Oxford first started, they didn't teach calculus, because it hadn't been invented yet.
Marge Simpson was supposed to have bunny ears.
I think she has them in the arcade game.
The eruption of Mount Krakatoa, link. The decibels were so high at the point of the explosion that just the sound was lethal within a few miles and is a decibel level that reliquefies solidified concrete.
In the mid-1960s, a group of robbers used a surplus Finnish anti-tank gun with a homemade suppressor to punch a hole into the side of a vault at an armored car facility in NY State. They stole almost $500,000 in valuables. The incident inspired the Clint Eastwood movie, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Giraffes have the same amount of vertebrae as humans.
Interestingly, most mammals do. I think there are only 2 or 3 who have a different amount, on being the sloth.
Hair lice came from chimps, pubic lice came from gorillas. I can only wonder how that happened.
Stupid sexy gorillas.
All clownfish are born male. The dominant clown changes to female. When the female dies, the next dominant male steps up into motherhood. Yes, Nemo Dad is now his new mother.
Greater than the dominant clown changes to female. Hey everybody, I found a name for my first avant-garde synthie-pop album.
Pregnant women are not allowed to work in the area of the factory where Pringles receive the flavoring spray.
In case they pop and just can't stop?
The treadmill was actually a torture device in jails.
Now it's a torture device in my basement.
If you feel cold but your balls are hanging normal, you have a fever. Ladies, sorry but I don't have any tips for you.
Some penguins have traded sex for stones as they use those stones to make nests.
Truly the oldest profession.
That in terms of time Tyrannosaurus rex is closer to humans putting a man on the moon than it was to a stegosaurus. Dinosaurs were around for a really long time.
Also, the first dinosaur bones discovered were in 1819. The founding fathers didn't know dinosaurs existed.
You can fit all the other planets in the solar system, side by side, in the space between Earth and our moon.
Tell that to Shaquille O'Neal.
Death due to drowning in freshwater is mostly because of ventricular fibrillation, and death due to drowning in saltwater is because of pulmonary edema.
Can someone explain like I'm 5?
The singular for spaghetti is spaghetto.
That's the bad side of town in Italy.
Up until last year, John Tyler, born in 1790 and 10th President of the U.S., had 2 living grandsons. One passed away in September, but the other one is still alive.
So, should someone smang the last living grandson real quick? So we can say John Tyler, born in 1790 and 10th President of the U.S., has a great-grandchild living in 2100.
Bananas are berries and technically they don't grow on trees, it's a herb that's part of the lotus family. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, chances are that you have put them in an order that has never been seen in the history of the universe.
This one is actually pretty mind-boggling. I like these probability ones.
The fastest object man has created is a manhole cover. Edit, so apparently the prize for fastest man-made object goes to the Parker Solar Probe. But thanks anyway for all the fun comments and nerdy conversations. This got way more popularity than I imagined.
Wasn't that the one which got launched by an explosion from an atomic bomb? And they never found that thing, so they assumed it just launched off into space.
Well, they assumed it was incinerated. Until they repeated the exercise with a high-speed camera and realized it was going so fast it didn't have time to burn up in the atmosphere before it went to space. So yeah, not only is a manhole cover the fastest object man has produced, it was also the second fastest object man has produced.
The dress code for MLB umpires requires them to wear dark underwear during games.
Maine has more coastline than California.
Maine is also the closest part of the US to Africa.
Penguin males can't make the difference between female and males, so they just go with anyone they find, and when everyone is laying eggs, they just look for a stone and pretend it's their egg, taking turns on who sits on it.
The odds of 2 people sharing a birthday in a room of 20 people is around 50%.
My dad taught me this when I was in 2nd grade. I was so fascinated by the fact that 2 people in my class of 21 had the same birthday.
If a rabbit is stressed out enough, it will eat its own children.
Lots of rodents actually do this, including mice and rats. Actually, lots of wild animals do. Nature is scary.
A lobster is more aerodynamic than a Jeep.
Almost anything is more aerodynamic than a Jeep.
That in medieval Iceland, if you, as a man, wanted to get married, your dong had to be over 3 inches. I actually got this from another Ask Reddit post.
That an ancient king called Mithridates was so scared of being assassinated, he drank small amounts of poison every day until he built up an immunity to every poison known to man. When the Romans invaded his kingdom and defeated him, he attempted to poison himself to avoid capture and execution, but because he was so used to the poison, it obviously didn't work. Eventually a servant killed him with his sword. Edit, thank you for all the upvotes. And the awards. It's my first day on Reddit, so it's really nice to get the response that I've got.
Should have sliced himself a little bit every day to build up an immunity to swords.
Cleopatra lived closer to the time when the iPhone was invented than she did to the construction of the Great Pyramid.
The dot on a lowercase I or j is called a tittle.
The lower part is called the jot. If you turn an ultimate Fursby upside down, you can fill it with exactly ~3 4 beers. Any more and the cohesion gives way and soaks your carpet. Edit, thanks you, Cyberpet A3 for the correction.
By the time you reach the age of 18, on average, you have 3,500 weekends left in your life before forever.
That actually sounds like a comfortably large number. What really trips me out is when you talk in terms of summers. I'm 29 and if I'm lucky I have 50 to 70 summers left. Grimace.
There is graffiti that has been traced back to ancient Greece, and is about a man renouncing to women he will only be penetrating men's behinds.
Pompeii, to be precise. Weep, you girls. My penis has given you up. Now it penetrates men's behinds. Goodbye, wondrous femininity. Link.
Yes, that's the one. I could never find it. Forgot it was Roman though. Whoops.
The North American bird population has plummeted by ****3 billion **** breeding adults since the 70s, with devastating losses among birds in every biome. Forests alone have lost 1 billion birds. Grassland bird populations collectively have declined by 53%, or another 720 million birds. All because humans are destroying habitats and using way too many insecticides. Insects are a mainstay of their diet.
If you lay the blood vessels of a fully grown adult end to end, it could circle the Earth 4 times. Edit. I was wrong, it's a bit over 2 times. However, until we put this into practice, it's all speculation. So one of us is gonna have to volunteer. Nobody? Okay, I'll do it, but you guys owe me like a soda or something.
Wombat poo is square.
Cubed.
When dolphins want to have sex, their bellies turn pink. Edit. Alright guys, I get it. It was in a King of the Hill episode and Frank was RPD by a dolphin. Edit. That was a typo. I meant Hank.
Q. Who has the biggest air force in the world? A. The United States. Q. Who has the second biggest air force in the world? A. The United States Navy. Think about that. Absolutely ridiculous. Duck penis, vag facts are always the first to come to mind. Just everything about duck reproduction is so ridiculous.
I'm strangely intrigued.
That the dimensions of average men and average women are just that. An average of a large population group, and very few, if any, humans actually fit those exact dimensions. In a study of fighter pilots, it was found that not one pilot had the average body dimensions for all 10 measurements utilized. The average body was literally not one person in the study. Also, the idea of averages in human body types and dimensions was developed by an overzealous Belgian astronomer. He was also responsible for the development of the body mass index.
That's why in many fields, the median is used. For instance, median income in economics says much more about the wealth of a country than the average. Think about 10 people, 9 are earning $10 per hour, 1 earns $1,000 an hour. Average income will be $109 per hour, while the median income is $10. The most normal person in this country earns indeed $10, not $109. Asterisk. The median is determined after sorting the people and picking the person in the middle.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.